stiff me on overtime. Cue the long, expensive revenge. This happened in the early 2000s when I joined a startup. We agreed on a salary, and no paid overtime and an evaluation in 3 months. And then annually. Standard stuff mostly. It was a very mediocre salary for the work, but I really liked work itself, which was extremely interesting and challenging. For me, even if the finances were so-so, I felt I would learn a lot of skills which would be useful in the future. After 3 years and having 10 decent clients and a bunch of clients trialing and money rolling in, the talk turned to back pay and paid overtime plus compensating for past overtime. At that point, around 50 and odd had been accrued, which is a lot. Legally it could not be back pay, so the talk was always of a discretionary bonus. Now at this point, everyone is okay with this, myself included, and this was discussed in writing, via company emails too, so I felt secure and that no bad will was in play. I felt the company should be able to afford the payment. Equally, I would happily settle for equity at a discount, which is legally possible there if cash flow was an issue. The discussions about back pay, possible equity, and now started to drag on, and I was getting irked by this. In the end, I was made an offer of equity, which meant the company valuation was far beyond anything reasonable. In the hundreds of millions, and I would get a minuscule stake, less than 0.01 of a company with 9 employees and a projected annual turnover of around 2 million. It was a FU of sorts to stiff me out of money, and I did not want to take that lying down. To say I was furious was an understatement. Anyway, the day he made that offer I handed in my resignation. This sent the CTO into panic mode, because the CEO had refused an updated contract, and I was still on a 1-month notice period, plus I had a lot of untaken paid leave. Basically it meant I was walking out right then and there, so off I went that very same day, to the shock and surprise of everyone, I guess. The next day I sent an official, registered letter requesting my overtime back pay and received a negative response, which I followed up with another, detailed demand. This was also rejected because the bonus was discretionary, and there is no overtime. However, I would have been seeking legal advice, and I understood that they do not have a leg to stand on if I am willing to pay for an attorney, as the liability in such matters is firmly and 100 on the employer. I was willing. You need to understand that going to a lawyer was very rare in those parts back then, so companies did not generally expect this outcome. Things have since changed. When going through the applicable laws with the attorney, I noticed there is a limitation of 7 years. So, while my attorney was laying out what to do in order to get me my money in a little as a few weeks, I just asked him, what if we wait until it is 6 years and 11 months after the transgression, and then file? Demanding interest. I wanted this because the law stated that back pay is due at a 9 APRA above the base rate, 3.25 at that time. Accrued daily. For every day past the due date. We are looking at 12 to 5 compound daily APRA. The risk is that the company folds in that time, but I decided to take that risk. I sent one final letter stating that I expect all the owed and accrued amounts to date to be paid immediately. Of course, nothing happened. For the next few years life rolled on, the company did grow and become a known player in the area. When the time came, I found an attorney and started the case. We had copies of all the communications, copies of the registered letters and responses. The back pay demanded now, including interest, was 112 EK. What I did not know was that in addition to this that there are fixed penalties for each instruction to perform uncompensated overtime. The total demand was something like 135 EK. To say that the CEO, who is still CEO, lost his SHT would be an understatement. I got a very verbally abusive phone call, which I dutifully recorded as it was not completely unexpected, and was added to the filing. The CEO fought, or tried to, but when the judge heard the phone call, he took an immediate dim view. Reading through all the communication just put more nails in the defense's coffin. The judge just ruled and instructed the company to pay immediately and without delay, and also ordered the company to pay all my legal costs. They also got a full audit from the Department of Labor. The company paid up a week later. To add insult to injury, the evening of the court's decision, the CEO apparently got very drunk and crashed his car into another vehicle while drunk. He got a Dewey conviction and lost his driving license for half a year, and his insurance refused to pay out for the damages to his vehicle brand new Mercedes S-Class as he was drunk. All in all, a glorious day.